access to information on the natural features of their property, as well as technical advice and possible grants that may be able to offset some of the costs associated with implementing those BMPs on their property. So the projects listed here are funded primarily in an effort to reduce sediment and nutrient input to water courses. And from here, we are hoping to promote our program as well as establish a steering committee with local landowner participation so that we can discuss ways that would improve water quality and make this program truly applicable to Lambton Shores residents. From here, this is where we have a few requests of council. Our first being that if they have any suggestions for local champion landowners who would be interested in sitting on the steering committee from the Lambton Shores, or within that jurisdiction that I showed on the map earlier, we would really be eager to connect with those landowners and set up our steering committee, because we're trying to have a broad representation of interests on the committee. And which brings me to my next request of, it would be very helpful to have one or two council members sit on this committee, not only for their input as a Lambton Shores landowner, but also as someone who has a working knowledge of the municipal office. I actually expected it. I was waiting for that. And with respect to engaging landowners, I would also like to request council to consider having municipal building officials promote the program by providing information to landowners applying for permits, as well as assisting in compiling a list of Lambton Shores contractors and septic inspectors that could also pass on such information to their clients. We are also hoping to gain permission to use municipal publications to promote the program. And finally, with respect to engaging landowners, a letter of support from council encouraging landowner participation. Our final request would be a letter of support from council to endorse grant proposals as we seek to obtain future funding for the program. And with that, I'd like to address any questions or comments, and then say thanks for the opportunity to speak.
This program seems very familiar to Sawwell Bayfield. That's had a program for a number of years,
yes,
assisting grant dollars to different farmers with the road crossings and all of the fencing watersheds and items like that. So that's I think it's a good program. It has been used well at the Sawwell Bayfield. Just getting started here, I guess. Councillor Ellen?
Well, yeah, I guess I just wanted to comment and ask a little bit about engaging some of the landowners. First of all, thank goodness we are no longer no man's land, and that we do have a conservation authority looking after us in this area of the municipality. ABCA, to their credit, has done wonderful things all over, and so has St. Clair. But certainly not that opportunity in Lambton Shores. So I mean, we're thrilled that we'll be able to partner with you, and especially in this area. I know there are several people who would be willing to, and I'm sure would be thrilled to assist or be part of this. I know I speak with one particular resident who is very concerned about water quality and streams and spills and issues like that almost on a daily basis. So there are many people who will have an interest in something like this. So I guess in terms of municipal support, though, this is a St. Clair committee or a St. Clair group. And Jessica, I know when we met before, you have a contract. So are you going to be with us?
I will.
Or what's the story?
That is the
Who's
goal.
doing it?
That is the goal.
Okay.
So I will be here, but if not, the program will definitely continue.
The program will continue regardless.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then in terms of information about this group and how something formal that that we can get out there or use our Living in Lambton Shores, for example, to be able to promote it. I don't know necessarily if we'll have if our building officials will be going out and handing stuff out to people, but certainly Living in Lambton Shores, and there's all kinds of ways that we can get the information out there.
Contact sheet wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Jessica, I encouraged her to come, and I apologize, because I talked to the mayor after I encouraged her. I guess I should have talked to the mayor before, but he told me Asavo did such a good job, and I said, well, Jessica will too. I think that's exactly what, but when it goes to our municipal offices, whether it's the county or it's our offices, I think it's not them going out hustling, it's that they have them available. So if a landowner comes in and they want to do something or another, they have to get a permit, then our appropriate CBOs would be giving the appropriate paperwork out for the St. Clair district. I think it's just a simple thing. Assistant compiling the list, permission to use municipal, but these are all pretty simple things, and I think Jessica's new to the job, and I think just glad she's come here, but I think I'd like to make a motion that we do the letter of support to encourage landowner participation. I think we can come up with that letter, and I'd also suggest we make a letter of support for the council to endorse grant proposals, a generic letter that says that we support this program, that you can use that at any time when they're applying for a grant, and last but not least, to instruct our municipal officials to assist her in whatever endeavor she has. I can't really say about the other two things.
Okay. Councilor Scott, are you seconding that?
I'm seconding the motion, and I just want to thank Jessica. I'm excited because I'm the ABCA rep, and this is really good news.
And it's nice for the big team.
So I am seconding that, yes.
Deputy Mayor, had her hand.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Jessica. I think that all of these items here are very reasonable asks, in fact, and I'd like to see us support all of them. Obviously, there's specific things in this motion, but I think that it's probably quite possible we can help you on all counts, no doubt, in some way or another. But I think the one thing that comes to my mind when I think about a program like this, it's very much the individual, personal, one-to-one contact that would make this program successful, and it's that might be part of your championship team there, but is that the objective of St. Clair's to make that one-to-one, mail-out type of connection so that people catch the vision?
Very much so.
Thank you.
Councilor Vaughn?
This is really good, and I'm glad that you came out. I just have a question. Are you willing to share? And I'll tell you why. Because this, I think, is going to be a pilot project that might be used in zones 3 and 4 in the north end. Because we had an ad hoc committee that did a report, and they're talking about sharing education programs, that type of thing. So I think something like this is interesting in terms of the recommendations from that actual report. So when this gets up and running, would you be willing to share how it's going and
Oh, for sure.
that type of thing?
For sure.
It's important. Good.
It's already going, and ABCA has run this program.
But
With the septic installers and
Yeah.
the whole thing has been done for a number of years at ABCA.
Yeah, but I think that this is something that probably the ad hoc will look at when we discuss that report and our recommendations, because education was huge. So I think that a committee like this would be an integral part of that.
It's there. Okay. Councilor Lowen?
I guess it was just a follow-up question for Jessica around the landowner, the makeup of the group. I assumed when I read it that you're talking rural landowners, agricultural holdings, but then the question is, are residential
Residential as
landowners
well.
certainly, they're certainly welcome.
Someone from a beach association.
The beach associations all along and so on. Yeah. Okay, fair enough, thank you.
Okay. Councilor Scott?
Through you to Jessica. The bottom line is that the farms that have started to re-fence their properties and move the cattle away from the waterways, there are so many that year after year come back to ABCA and ask for another section of their land to be treed and native plantings and different things put in. So it's a very successful thing, and it's really changing a lot of things for the good. So it's very exciting.
Okay. Councilor McGuire?
Just one question here, in regards to this subcommittee that's gonna look over, are they gonna look over all the different watersheds that we identified here, or just pick out one specific one and do best practices?
All the ones there. It is a 127 square kilometer watershed.